Hi, Susan here. This is a speaking lesson. We are going to describe houses and homes and discuss questions about them. So our aims are to look at examples of speaking part 1, 2, and 3 that are questions that are related to houses and homes. We will also work on your pronunciation and listening comprehension with a dictation. We'll work on your pronunciation by noticing sentence stress and pauses in speech. And we will also practice sentence stress and pausing with a step-by-step speaking exercise. So let's get started. So here are some examples of speaking part 1 questions. These are some common questions that could appear in your IELTS. For example, what kind of house or accommodation do you live in? What do you usually do in your house, flat, room? Who do you live with? Please describe the room you live with in. Which part of your home do you like the most? Is there anything about your house that you would like to change? So these are simple questions, but remember, try to speak a bit more. Don't answer with just like one sentence. Try to explain your answer a bit more, explain your reasons, give examples so that you extend your answer a little bit. So you can practice answering these questions by yourself. You could practice now. You could pause the video, practice answering, and after you finish, unpause it. And we'll continue. Okay, so we are going to work on a dictation of six sentences that are connected to the speaking part 1 questions that we just looked at. So I will say it. I'll say the sentence and I'd like you to write it down. So listen to me and then write down exactly what I say in the sentence. This is to check your listening and also your to help with your awareness of what the words sound like, so that you are also more aware of their pronunciation. So when you're ready, if you need to go get a pencil or paper, just pause the video, go get it. And when you're ready, I'm going to start. So unpause the video and let's do this. So let's start with sentence number 1. I live in an apartment. I live in an apartment. I live in an apartment. Okay, sentence number 2. I spend most of my day at home, so I do pretty much everything there. I spend most of my day at home, so I do pretty much everything there. I spend most of my day at home, so I do pretty much everything there. Okay, sentence 3. I live with my parents, my little brother, and my grandmother. I live with my parents, my little brother, and my grandmother. I live with my parents, my little brother, and my grandmother. Sentence 4. My room's small, but it's very comfortable. My room's small, but it's very comfortable. My room's small, but it's very comfortable. Sentence 5. I love my bedroom because it's where I feel the most comfortable. I love my bedroom because it's where I feel most comfortable. I love my bedroom because it's where I feel most comfortable. Sentence 6. I would like my house to be bigger, but I like everything else about it. I like my house to be bigger, but I like everything else about it. I like my house to be bigger, but I like everything else about it. Okay, so these were our 6 sentences. Pause the video if you want to finish writing, because I'm going to give you the answers now. All right, so number 1, I live in an apartment. Number 2, I spend most of my day at home, so I do pretty much everything there. 3, I live with my parents, but my little brother and my grandmother. 4, my room's small, but it's very comfortable. 5, I love my bedroom because it's where I feel most comfortable. And 6, I would like my house to be bigger, but I like everything else about it. So if you got everything correctly, well done. If you missed a word or something in the middle there, don't worry about it. This is to make you more aware of pronunciation. When we speak, a lot of the time, some of the words don't get pronounced very clearly. And some words get more pronounced. That's why we are going to look at these sentences again with the sentence stress. So in English, we normally stress content words, so words that are important for the meaning, and not structure words, so words that are important for the grammar. So for example, when I say I live in an apartment, I live is clear, apartment is clear, but I, in, and an, not so clear. So I live in an apartment, I live in an apartment. So it's subtle. So that means the words that I stressed are the verb and the noun. So these are the words that are important for the meaning. The pronoun, preposition, article, they're important for the grammar, but they are not so important for the meaning. So they are not stressed when we speak. So same here. I spend most of my day at home, so I do pretty much everything there. So spend most day home, do everything. So these are the words that are important for the meaning. So they are the ones that get pronounced, that get stressed when I speak. I spend most of my day at home, so I do pretty much everything there. 3, I live with my parents, my little brother, and my grandmother. So my, and, with, like these words, they don't get pronounced so much, but the verbs and the nouns, they get pronounced, they get stressed. My room is small, but it's very comfortable. So again, the words that are important are getting pronounced, are getting stressed. My room is small. So in this case, small, the adjective, is also important for the meaning. So that's why it's pronounced. But it's very comfortable. So very is being pronounced here because it's changing the meaning of comfortable. It's not just comfortable, it's very comfortable. So we normally stress it. I love my bedroom because it's where I feel most comfortable. So love, bedroom, so verb, noun, feel, comfortable, adjective, so verb, adjective. These words are important for the meaning, so they're stressed. And the other ones not so much, because is often pronounced as cuz. So when you are writing, make sure you write because. Don't write cuz, because that's incorrect. But when we're speaking, it's normal to say cuz. So for example, here, I love my bedroom because it's where I feel most comfortable. So because becomes cuz, and that's common. So the last one, I would like my house to be bigger, but I like everything else about it. So would is usually just I'd like. So I like my house to be bigger. I like my house to be bigger. So this doesn't get pronounced. Often most of the word disappears and we just contract. I like my house to be bigger. So, and again, verb, house, noun, bigger adjective, like verb, everything else is also well pronounced because it's important for the meaning. So all these are stressed, and the little ones are not. My, to be, but I, about it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you you will sound more natural if you are stressing the words that are important for the meaning, so like verbs, nouns, adjectives, and any other important words. And if you are not pronouncing with so much detail, so much stress, the other words, the grammar words. All right, so for speaking part 2, we have an example here of a question that you might have in your IELTS. Describe a home that you have lived in. You should say what the home looks like, what you like about this home, where this home is or was located, and explain how you feel about living in this home. So it could be somewhere that you live now or somewhere that you lived in the past. So there is an example of an answer for that question here. And we are going to use this example to talk about pauses. Because in speaking part 2, you're going to speak for 2 minutes. So between 1.5 minutes and 2 minutes, more or less. So it's important to pause and to breathe as you speak. So looking at this sample answer, where would you pause? So pause the video here so that you can think about it. So read and think about where you would pause. If you need to, speak out loud, like read it and speak it out loud to see where it would sound natural to stop and then continue. So yeah, pause the video. When you finish, unpause it and we will continue. Okay, so let's start here. So a few years ago, so I pause here. I'm gonna put these like little green dashes. A few years ago, I lived in a Victorian row house in Newport Pagnell. So of course, if I end a sentence, I normally have a pause. If I have a comma, I normally add a pause. It wasn't very big. It had 2 bedrooms, a living room, a dining room, a kitchen, and a bathroom. You could pause here as well between and, but it's up to you. Some people connect it, some people pause it. So you could say, for example, a kitchen and a bathroom, or just a kitchen and a bathroom. They both sound natural, so whatever makes you feel comfortable. It also had a garden at the back. The house had been built in the 1800s, so it was very old. On the outside, it looked like a typical British house. And there were many others that looked exactly the same all over town. So as you can see, I paused there because it sounded more natural for me. So, and there were many others that looked exactly the same all over town. So I need that pause so I can breathe because this is a long clause. So, and that's okay, that's normal. So just pick the most appropriate place. So in this case, it was natural to pause there. They looked exactly the same all over town. So I'm adding some information about where. So we can separate those with the pause. But you couldn't do it if you was like in the middle. It would sound strange, for example. And there were many others that looked exactly the same. It doesn't sound natural. So you need to pick your pauses in places where like you stopped one like group of words that like have a meaning together, and then you start the next one, and that works out usually well. And then I have a full stop, so I can add another pause inside it. So inside it had wooden floors downstairs. So here you can either pause because there is a comma, or you can continue on. This is a more like an optional one. So you could say inside it had wooden floors downstairs, or you can just say inside it had wooden floors downstairs. So it depends on how you speak, really. And then this comma is important here for pausing. And the upstairs bedrooms were carpeted. We had a sofa and a TV on a stand in the living room, as well as a bunch of toys for my son. The dining room had a dinner table and a desk for my computer. So here, because this is a long clause, you could decide to pause before and. Before and is always a good place to pause if you need to, because and separates two things, so it's usually a natural one. So the dining room had a dinner table and a desk for my computer. So it's optional as well. If you can go for the whole thing, that's fine as well. For example, the dining room had a dinner table and a desk for my computer, as I also used it as an office. Full stop, always pause. The kitchen was very small, but it fit the fridge, cooker, and washing machine. There was no space for a dishwasher though. Normally we don't separate though. This is it's more natural to just say the whole thing, because it's just a single word at the end of the sentence. If you separate it, it sounds a bit weird. So for example, there was no space for a dishwasher though. It doesn't sound nice. So it's better to just say it like just go for the whole thing. So there was no space for the dishwasher though. The garden was easy to maintain and was as big as the house. It was a nice place to relax in the summer. The bedrooms were pretty standard and they still had an open fire. What I liked the most about the house was the location. It was very close to the town center, so there were many restaurants and shops only 5 minutes away. However, there should be one here as well. However, the house was really old and things broke all the time. It was also a bit dark because the windows weren't very big. So here we can also separate. It was also a bit dark because the windows weren't very big. We're separating the clause using because, so it is also a natural place to stop and have a little pause. So it was also a little bit dark because the windows weren't very big. So I didn't like it in the winter. I moved to a better house after living there for just 1.5 years. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. So you can try to practice by writing your answers down and then marking the places where you would pause, and then trying to reproduce that when you speak. This can be good practice and help you sound more natural, and also to breathe. It's very common in the IELTS that the test taker is speaking so fast. They end up like forgetting words or not being able to breathe, and so like the words don't come out. It can be chaotic, especially if you're nervous. So this is good practice so that you feel more comfortable pausing without thinking that the examiner is going to think that you are not fluent enough. So these are some examples of speaking part 3 questions. Is it common to own a home in your country? What are some advantages of owning a home? What are some reasons why people renovate their homes? And why are smaller homes becoming popular these days? So you can apply the pronunciation points that I made in this lesson to the answer to these questions as well. So make sure you pause where appropriate and make sure you stress the right words so that you sound more natural, sound more fluent, and you don't speak too fast and you have enough time to breathe as well. So to practice, you could record yourself answering one of the speaking part 3 questions. When you finish, listen to the recording, pay attention to your sentence stress and your pauses. So you can do that using your phone. So read the question, answer it, and then record your answer, and then listen to it and check your pauses, check your stress, see if you sound natural. After you do that, pick another question and write the answer down. So this time, before you speak, write down the answer. When you finish, underline the words that are stressed. So underline the stressed words in your answer. So any nouns, any adjectives, any words that are important for the meaning. And after that, mark where the pauses go. So where you would pause in your speech. So basically what we did with the speaking part 2 answer, mark the pauses where they will go, like between sentences, with commas, with and, or in the separation between clauses. Now do it again. So record yourself reading your answer out loud. So now you have written your answer, you have marked the stress, and you have put the pauses. Now record yourself reading this answer out loud. Listen to the recording and check if you sound any better than in the first recording. Does your pronunciation sound more natural? Do you sound a little better than before? Are you pausing in the right places? So notice any improvements. And if so, if you notice like, oh yeah, this is much better, then do this again with other questions from this lesson. And when you feel confident, you can do it without writing. So just start writing the answers first and then marking the pauses. And then after you feel more confident, do it without writing anything. Just pause where it's natural. You should be able to notice your progress after a little while. So after you do this a few times, you notice how much better you're getting. A little warning though, don't do all the questions in one day. You're gonna be very tired. Your voice is gonna get very tired, and we don't want to do that. You don't want to get too tired. You don't want to get exhausted from practicing IELTS questions. That's not the point. This is just something that you can do once in a while. Pick a different question and write down the answers, mark the stress. Just do it a little bit every week or every other week, depending on how much time you have before your test. So don't exhaust yourself with IELTS tasks. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.